Today on Catherine Learns Stuff, we're going to unbox my Epson EcoTank ET 2850 printer. Once we're done with the unboxing, we're going to convert it into a sublimation printer. Just pulling out a faithful pair of scissors, I'm going to start to open my box here. CD, not sure what those are for anymore. Here we have the printer. Nicely taped shut so that it doesn't fall apart. Also, inside the box, we have power cables and several bottles of ink. These bottles of ink are for regular printing, so we're just going to keep them aside from my other printer, and we're going to use sublimation ink to fill this printer later. Okay, so the first thing that we need to do, now that our printer is out, we need to take off all these pieces of blue tape that they've nicely applied everywhere for us to keep the machine safe and closed. All of my blue tape is off, and it's ready to be plugged in. Power cord connects into the back, right here. So I have two choices. I can either set this up right now on my mobile devices, or I can skip straight to the filling section. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to set it up so that we're ready to start printing once we're done with the ink. So I'm just going to quickly scan this app onto my iPad and give her. So I have the app installed now. So it tells me next to press the power button, which is located here on the side. Now that the power is on, I need to launch my app so that I can turn my printer on. Simply agreeing to their terms. All right, get ready for your ink. So now we're ready to fill the printer with ink. As I mentioned before, we're not going to be using the standard ink that comes with the printer. We're going to be using sublimation ink. I bought this Hippo ink off of Amazon, which you can get the links to below. The steps for filling the sublimation ink are the same as they are for filling it with regular ink. It's just that the sublimation ink is specifically for sublimation. So we'll follow the steps here to insert the ink as per the instructions. So we're going to open the top, and this section right here opens up so that we can access the ink. Here we see each of the inks has its own cartridge color, so we've got black, yellow, pink, and blue. So this package of ink that I have comes with syringes and needles so that I can fill the tanks in here. And I've got the same colors. I've got black, blue, pink, and yellow as I do in my original pack, and as I have labeled here on in the inside. So we're supposed to start with our black ink. So we pop open our black ink and we need to fill it in here. So the difference is when you're buying inks that don't come with the printer, there's a little bit of work that we need to do in order to get this ink into these tanks. So I get my black ink out first. I'm gonna give it a little bit of a mix. A black syringe and a black needle. So what's going to happen is I'm going to fill up my ink with this, and then I'm going to put my syringe needle into the tank here and inject it into my tank here. You can see here that there's a port for each ink to go into. It's got a top and a bottom half of it. The syringe will go into the top one when we're doing it. Simply putting our needle on our syringe, opening up our ink, putting our needle into the ink, and we're going to pull some ink out. Okay, now we don't want the ink to spill all over, so we need to be gentle and be careful, and we're going to put the ink into the color port and slowly start to push the ink into the tank. And we don't want to go too fast so that it doesn't come out the top. And once your syringe is empty, we repeat this until the tank is all the way full. Okay, so it looks like my black ink is empty, so now I'm going to move on to the next color. You'll notice here that my black isn't full all the way yet, but my yellow is full. It's because the black tank is larger, so I still have some yellow left over. So when I'm doing the other colors, I'm going to try to keep it to around the same level before I overflow my tank. So right now that yellow is done, and I'm going to move on to my next color, which is the pink, or magenta as they call it in the printer world. Now everything's filled. Good to close it up. So now the printer is going to initialize for 10 minutes, and it'll let me know when it's done. While the printer is initializing, I'm just going to go wash out my syringes, and I'm also going to put all of my leftover sublimation ink into Ziploc bags so that they don't dry out. And that's it. The printer's all set up and ready to print. And that's it. Now our printer has been converted into a sublimation printer. Some things to note when you're doing this: remember that once you put the sublimation ink into the printer, it's no longer valid under the warranty. So if the printer breaks, you're out of pocket for all the money. Filling each tank with ink took about 5 to 10 minutes. As I got farther into the process, I was a little bit more skilled with it, so it got faster as I progressed. I did manage to get red ink all over my hands, so that's something I will have to work on next time, so wearing gloves would have been helpful. Also, it's important to note that just because this is a sublimation printer now, you can still use it to print out other things. You're just going to be using sublimation ink, so it might not come out as vibrant as it would with regular ink for this printer, but you can still use it to print. And that's it. Now we're going to learn how to make other sublimation projects such as mugs and shirts. So stay tuned for those videos and blog posts. As always, if you liked my post, don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. Thanks so much for watching.